Okay, so most of us have heard this in some form or fashion, right? It's this idea, this notion that in order to have what most people want, you have to be willing to do what most people won't. And I want to invite you to consider thinking about that in just another way to kind of cement it in maybe a way that maybe brings it more to life for each and every one of us as we navigate this daily practice of living the biggest life possible, right? So when we think about living the biggest life possible, we're thinking about how we can show up in our relationships more consciously, more intentionally. How can we create habits around our health, around our energy, around our sleep, around our exercise and our movement? How can we bring more intentionality to how we show up and how we make progress in our life by being a very valuable and effective version of ourselves, right? And so in order to do that based on this notion that I had discussed, we have to be 1%ers. We have to be the 1% of the 100 that are willing to think differently, to show up differently, to feel all the things, to have the biggest life possible. So we have to, as 1%ers, do what 99% of others are unwilling to do. Thinking about it that way has really changed the way that I invite myself into opportunities. It also helps me stop negotiating with myself and making excuses for myself. Because if you're going to be a 1%er, you can't negotiate with your dreams. You can't negotiate with your energy. You can't negotiate with the intentionality around meaningful connections and relationships and putting yourself out there in the biggest way possible so that you can exchange the bigness of who it is that you're. There's no negotiating that. Not at all. So it stops the excuse when you identify as the 1%er. When you identify as that 1%er, you will no longer tolerate what 99% of people are tolerating. You will no longer excuse what 99% of people are excusing. And you'll start taking yourself seriously. That's what 1%ers have to do. That's the work that we get to do. That's the work that I always invite you into. Have a beautiful day, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.